Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to come to this session. So my name is Carlos. I'm a VP of Engineering at Outsystems. For those who don't know Outsystems, we are a low-code company. If you want to know more, just pick me up after that. So the goal for me for today is to walk you all through the process that we have been kind of using and refining for the last couple of months and years on how do we solve the inherent challenges that come from having a product in which we have product managers with a specific set of interests and things that move them, and engineers. And we have kind of evolved this model, and it's about that journey that I want to talk to you today. So, start with the basics. I don't think that ever before we have asked so much from engineers in terms of align with the business strategy, understand the outcomes, what are the metrics and the business metrics that moves you, and at the same time, from product managers, understand the technical challenges, understand concept side, technical that, make sure that from an operational standpoint, you are concerned about that. But at its core, an engineer and the product manager are concerned about different things. A product manager is focused on market, what is the TAM and the SAM, and in the end, how to get, grow, happy, and bigger customers. An engineer, yes, it's important for them, but they have a unique set of concerns that appeal to them. Are they happy at what they do? Are they productive? Do they have the right tooling? Is the architecture in check? And nobody wants to be waking up at 2 a.m. because some service went down and somebody needs to jump into that. So the session for today, it's about the framework and the steps that we use to try to kind of transform these inherent differences into good things. The first thing that organizations, I've seen this multiple times, the first thing that organizations try to do is, we'll reorg, we'll change our team structure, and everything will get solved by it. It doesn't, okay? Oh, sorry. It doesn't. No dysfunctional organization was ever solved by reorging. It doesn't happen. Reorging, changing, reporting and stuff is all about consolidating the changes in the alignment, in trust, that you have imposed. And if you think that reorganizing your teams helps you, sure, do it, but don't start there, because that's a big mistake, and it's a big mistake that happens quite often. So Jan Bosch, for those who don't know, they wrote some article a couple of years ago where he states basically this. The starting point of any organization is the business strategy and the innovations that you need to do. And so he kind of has this 4 motions about the businesses and the processes and the architecture and eventually the organization. And they all pull itself, so it's not a top-down or left to right in this case, but you need to start with the business strategy. Okay? If you don't start with the business strategy, you will end up with an efficient organization that doesn't deliver the value that you need. So, because I am an engineer by training, there's always a framework. So this is kind of the framework and the concepts that I would like to introduce. And this is what we use internally in engineering. Concepts of value streams, sub-value streams, products, and teams, okay? And on top of that, what we try to do is we take this approach of 5 very simple, very obvious, but yet kind of complex every now and then to apply to that framework so you can derive your organization, your structure from the business strategy. The first one, product structure. This almost sounds very naive. We know the product that we have. Of course we do. If I ask 2 people in the same organization to describe the products that they have, do they come up with the same answer? No. Because maybe they look into one specific product and they prefer to see it as 2. So the goal for this is to create a shared understanding of what's my product portfolio? Because that will get useful when you try to roll out this, communicate, make the changes align around it. You need to create this base, foundational knowledge, and it's all about the dependencies, it's about boundaries, it's about responsibilities. Second one, and it's where most of the juicy stuff happens, value streams. Now, value streams is a concept, you can see it as the physical manifestation of the company strategy. It is where the company strategy actually gets executed. So it is perfectly aligned. There's multiple ways that you can use to define a value stream. By segment, by industry, by business case, use case. There is no right or wrong. Just pick something that makes sense to you and that you can define success on, and it automatically aligns into the company strategy. Third one, yearly roadmap. okay, this is agile, and if I go here and I say that we need 12-month roadmap, someone will kill me, but you need that visibility, because you need to have some sort of projection of the work that you need to do in order to make sure that the organization that you end up with optimizes for that. The last thing you want is to have an organization that might be perfect on paper, but it creates challenges on the things that I have to develop and implement in the next and deliver in the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I'm not saying this is fixed. This should be reviewed, and there's a couple of there's one specific slide that I want to share about that. Fourth one, the team structure. Now that I know the company strategy, the units that I will create to implement that, and the teams, sorry, and the roadmap, now I can talk about teams. And why does it have to be at this point? Because it depends on the investment. If you have a value stream that is very focused in delivering a very complex new capability and you have a lot of people invested there, you need a certain type of structure. If you had another one that equally important, but at this point and for the next 12 months, you are not doing anything massive, then maybe you have less people and you need a different structure, and that's why it's so important here. Last one, out of all of these concepts, there's a lot of business alignment, which makes perfect sense, but if we forget the foundational, and for me, I'm an engineering guy, if you forget the foundational of quality at its core, if you don't have quality, it doesn't matter how good your product might be. It needs to work. And so the product integrity side of things, and I define product integrity as the general quality of a product. If it is up, so things like technical depth and uptime are there. We need to make sure that whatever organization we end up with has these topics in consideration. So my proposal for today is that we go over these 5 steps with a pseudo-realistic type of scenario, and we try to build this as if we were doing it in a normal scenario. Make sense? So first one, product structure. Again, I'm from a low-code company, so we sell a platform for developers that allows them to build apps. So I kind of derive this a little bit from those concepts. We have an IDE where developers can develop their applications. And that's kind of easy to understand. On top of this, Gen AI and the role and the impact that Gen AI will have in the development process, we also have this AI assistant type of product. And we have a management console that basically oversees and manages all of the app portfolio. Now, very simple. I guarantee if you go, real life example, if you go to Outsystems and ask what products, half of the people will break the management console in 2 areas. And this is why it's so important to do this exercise. We need to have a common understanding of what is the product portfolio. So now we know what our products are. Next step, the value streams. This is where the juicy part comes in. There's a lot of things that you need to define. You start from the company strategy. You start from the goals that you have for this year, for the as much visibility as you have from that. And then you say, in this case, I'm saying, look, there's an aspect of developer productivity, of developing applications fast. That's at the core of what I do. So we have a developer productivity value stream. And actually, I would like to break it in 2, because there's one thing that is more applied to the simple type of apps that appeal to a certain type of use case, to a certain type of persona, and there are things that are more for the complex apps. Different use case, different personas, and they have different things. And so to create this concept makes sense. Application lifecycle. What's application lifecycle? It's the ability for you to manage your applications from the moment they are developed until they are pushed into production. We are an all-in-one type of platform, so this is important. And in this case, the sub-value stream, I'm not splitting it, I'm saying it's only one. Last one, troubleshooting. So once an application is in production, you need to make sure that it continues to operate smoothly. And I'm splitting it in 2. You have the app performance side of things. Is it fast? Page load times and stuff like that. And the troubleshooting itself. Remember, these are developers developing applications. Applications have bugs. They need to go and check. So we are splitting this in 2. Now, for each value stream, as you see it on the top, there's a couple of things that we need to define for them all. Okay? First one, the leadership. We define the leadership of a value stream with 4 roles, or 2 plus 2. Product management and engineering, we call them explicitly, those are the value stream leaders. I'll go in a little bit into the dynamics in a while. But those are the value stream leaders. There's not one and then the other. Those two are the value stream leaders, and they share what's in the left, the mission, and the definition of success. And it's out of this dynamic that, again, requires trust. Unfortunately, we have people that have been in the company for a while and share a lot of understanding about the strategy and the product itself. It's doable. It's very easily doable in many cases. In the cases where people are less experienced or have less time in the company or less context, it can work for sure. It just takes a little bit more of time. Third step, roadmap. Go to your value stream, forecast the roadmap for the next 12 months. It's not fixed. We use a type of 3 months is committed, 6 months is planned. Beyond that is our best guess. Refine, but have a notion of what you need to deliver, because that will allow you to optimize the organization and the structure for that. Last one, the teams. And now you look into the investment that you need to make, the things that you need to deliver, the definition of success of each value stream, and you structure your teams in the most efficient way possible, depending on the size, depending on the skill set. Do they have more dependencies, less dependencies, same skill set, and so on. There's a lot of things going on. This is every single step of this is more art than science. There is no right or wrong. But these are the things that you need to be aware of. Okay? Last one, the product integrity part. As you see there are products that are shared across multiple value streams. So, example, the management console serves the purpose of the troubleshooting as it serves the purpose of the application lifecycle. You cannot allow a product to have shared ownership. You can have shared contribution, that's great. Shared ownership doesn't work. So just pick one. Go to the products and make sure that there is a value stream that is looking to the overall quality of that asset, that is looking into uptimes, that is looking in technical debt, that is looking into deployment frequency, that is looking all the metrics that define quality. Okay? Now, the very important point about this, and I really think this is why it has been successful for us, has to do with this dynamics of these four roles. Product management and engineering share the same set of metrics. The success of one is literally the success of the other. There is no success for the product manager if the SLA on uptime is not complied. In the same way, there is no success for the engineer if the adoption goals are not met. And it's out of these alignment behind a common set of metrics that most of this ends up working. It's because you share success. To us, it's these two roles, and multiple companies organize this different way, how they perceive what an architect is, and so on. We actually have dedicated people for architecture and user experience. And for each value stream, we actually allocate what we call a DRI, a responsible person from an architecture. What's the role? Well, the role is to influence and advise these leaders in terms of the things that need to be done in their own scope, to do POCs, to do some upfront design in the cases it's needed. So it has this mix of unblocking execution plus looking forward and looking back into everything that we have done and making sure that everything is tuned. There are challenges for sure, and I can say, yes, if you do this, success is guaranteed. It's not. But what we have seen, and this is not something that we started 2 weeks ago nor 2 years ago. It has been a continuous refinement. We have multiple iterations of this, some more successful, some a little bit less successful. We haven't ditched the model because we really believe it works, and it has proven that it worked. And there are 3 main things that we are taking out of this that, to me, are really important. First is the autonomy. You are allowing these value streams to define how do they contribute to the company strategy. And it's their goal and their responsibility to look in the company strategy and say, from a developer productivity standpoint, this is what I need to do to achieve this adoption or these financial goals that come from the company strategy. And you do that decentralizing decision-making. You do that without falling to the trap of saying every big decision needs to be a CPO or a VP of product or a VP of engineering or a CTO's decision. You allow to do that. And that, going to what we were just hearing, allows people to be more confident, to grow them, to expose them. And that kind of pulls the level of the organization up. Second one, the agility. If you try to steer a cruise ship, it's harder than if you try to steer a small rowing boat. And the concept of value streams, I have had value streams with 135 people, and I have another one with 9. So they are as big as you need them to be, but I can guarantee to steer and course correct the 9 people, it's a lot easier. You basically sit all of them in a Zoom call and you do it. But regardless of the size, every value stream is smaller than the overall engineering department. Don't make a change always a company, or not a company, but a department-wide type of change, because those take a lot of effort. In our case, we have around 600 people between product management and engineering, and we have around 15 value streams running at this point. So that gives you an idea of the sizes. And again, some are bigger, some are smaller. Last one, the alignment. The fact that we have very well-defined roles and leaders for each value stream makes it a lot easier for you to align dependencies, for you to align roadmap. That part is completely invaluable. Now, just want to talk, there's a couple of, we don't kind of force a lot of rules, but we try to give some guidelines. If I had to summarize the guidelines in terms of what ceremonies are really important, I would break them into this quarterly, monthly, and weekly kind of time base. Quarterly, review your roadmap. We do this constantly, but at least quarterly. Go to support, customer success, security, product management, UX, architecture. What are the things that matter to you now? How does that impact our roadmap? And update that. Then, from a monthly standpoint, what you do is you focus more on the commits and unblocking execution. Basically, we work in 2 sprints of 2 weeks type of commits, and we say, for the next month, this is committed. For the next cycle, what do I need UX and architecture to work up front to make sure that we are ready to work on that? And then the weekly side of things is more operational, is where we look and we see how's the execution, how's the quality of the asset, do we have a problem with uptime, are we blocked in some place? To have this cadence in each one of these areas allows us to run this framework and this system a lot smoothly. Oh, a couple of quotes completely made up, but at least for dramatic effect it works. We have, again, multiple iterations of this, and not all the feedback is good in some of these, but if you kind of coalesce everything together in terms of the journey that we have been for the past, 3 years, and you ask people, a lot of the feedback comes around these type of topics. The alignment that I just mentioned, like smaller units. I can align with my peers a lot easier than when we try to do this type of centralized type of planning. Topics of entropy. If a change happens in one value stream, you can, it's not that it has no impact, everything has impact, but you can contain it, and you can reduce the entropy in a bunch of other value streams and say, you know what, that's great, it doesn't affect me, I'll just keep going. I don't even pause to take a look into it. The efficiency. The minute you remove all of this entropy, the minute you are able to give developers and product managers well-defined roadmaps, well-defined goals, you become more efficient because you remove a lot of the clutter from the process. One that is very dear to me, which has to do with fast decision-making. One pattern that we had was constant escalations of big product or engineering decisions to the VP of engineering or to the CTO, CPO, VP of product, whatever. That delays. Guy doesn't have an agenda, doesn't have full context, and suddenly a decision that should be made in a week takes 3 months. Giving the autonomy and the accountability to value streams makes a very big difference. And the last one, collaboration. If you put all of this together, you have motivated people. To me, what defines motivated people, or what really creates a motivated people, is making sure that they are not wasting time. Engineers don't like to spend, and no one likes to spend time in meetings that they don't see a goal for, that they enter there, they get out and say, I got nothing from this. That does not promote the collaboration, the efficiency that we want. Last thing, and I really love this quote, even though it looks like it was an engineering, John Gall is actually a pediatrician, but he wrote a lot of books around systems. A complex system that works is invariably found to have evolved from a simple system that works. This is just an instantiation of the Pareto principle, 80-20, continuous iteration, MVPs, call it whatever you want. Don't roll out this in a 600-people organization all at once, okay? Take one part, exercise it there, try it out, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then you can think of, okay, this is good for me and I can start to roll out. but focus on small and incremental changes. Lastly, there is a lot of things that I didn't mention here. Okay, I only have 20 minutes, actually 8 seconds. So things like platform teams, metric, trees, reporting lines. If you want to know more and if you want to discuss this, just meet me outside. This was a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, I'll be available.